This is Mike. I'm here with Jay again from NetMotion, and today we want to talk to you about Mobile IQ. Really what this is doing is giving admins ability to see high-level trends in the environment and really being able to give them tools to dig into network utilization, network performance, and network security. So Jay, talk to us a little bit.
Yeah, thanks Mike. Again, appreciate the opportunity to talk here. As you mentioned, Mobile IQ is really about giving you, a unique set of data that provides everything from what applications users are using, what networks are using, along with the failures they're having on those networks. And the great thing is, these aren't just networks that you own. These are networks you may or may not own. So imagine if you have customers going out in the field, visiting patients in healthcare, for example, at their homes or at different hospitals or different systems. You actually get full visibility into all of that, right? Whether you're using Wi-Fi or cellular, along with what kind of failures they're having. Also things like bandwidth and performance testing. So we're really giving, our customers that 360-degree view and really eliminating the blind spots that they've had before. So oftentimes they don't really know, how those networks are performing, what their users are doing. We provide visibility into all of that. So some of the things you can see if we take a look at the console here are right off the bat, we give you just a very high level network health dashboard. This shows you how many connections have been persisted. So we talked about mobility and the things it's doing to optimize the network. We actually are giving you some feedback as to what's happening in the environment. The higher the connections persisted, the great thing is we're providing relief for those connections having issues, but you also want to know, right, if you are having issues, right, and where that might be happening. So we give you, some visibility of that along with what devices are having that. We give you things like network failures. And the nice thing is, most of these dashboards can be drilled down into. So right here, if I say, I have 60 network failures and I can see I've had 4 more than I had the last hour, we show you trending. You can actually click in there and understand who's having those network failures, who's having those issues. And so it's really about giving you an easy way to dig down into what's going on in your environment and who might be having issues. So you can see here, this device or this user had 20 Wi-Fi connection failures in the last 24 hours. I can also see geographically where this is happening if we have a GPS fix on that device as well, along with what users are having the most issues. So let's kind of continue down that path. If I want to click in here, I can actually click right on that, and as I mentioned before, drill down and to see specifically, which device this was, what kind of failures they're having, and then if I wanted to, I can click in here and get all the information about that device. So we mentioned before, we can now click on this device and get very specific information on what kind of failures it's having. So we can see the device here, we can see all the hardware model, but then if you go down to the activity log, I can actually see that it lost its networking today. You can see that it's having issues connecting to this Overlord Wi-Fi network, along with disconnecting from the cellular network. So I have a full list of what's been happening with this device, and the great thing is, with this, you don't have to go recreate an issue, or try to reproduce an issue with a user. You have a full log of what's been going on in that device, when they're connecting, when they're disconnecting. And so it gives you great visibility at the device level. But as I mentioned before, where we started out was you have that 10,000 foot view, so you can start to understand what's going on in the environment.
That's great. I think one of the biggest things that a lot of my customers come to me with is they can't figure out what's wrong with the device. It's losing connectivity, applications aren't working. I think this is a great tool to give them that actual visibility. I don't think there's know of anything else that kind of gives you that kind of granular visibility.
Yeah, and that's the great thing. It's always on. It's always collecting this data. So if they had an issue last week and they said, I've been having it for a couple of weeks, you have the ability to go back and look 2 weeks ago at this device and see what was going on.
Yeah, something that you can't see those typical trends.
Yep, absolutely. And then the other thing, so we talked about performance, and there's the other thing we hear all the time is, on Wi-Fi, on cellular, full bars on Wi-Fi or full bars on cellular don't mean great performance anymore. Networks are so crowded, so many things, are being digitized with digital transformation that networks are just more crowded than they've ever been. And with our platform, we also give you the ability to do, bandwidth testing. So I can actually look at, over time, how the different networks my employees are using. Again, whether I own those or not, I can actually go in and look and see what are the bandwidth performance I'm getting. You know, I can see
So
on
you're
this.
turning that device into.
Really, we're turning it into a sensor. It's always on, it's always collecting data. Right? We don't have to do Wi-Fi network surveys all the time. We're really surveying that network all the time with all your devices in the background. And so we can see here very quickly, you know, which devices or which networks are getting the best performance, and which networks are having the highest latency, which networks get the best upload and download. And this is for Wi-Fi along with cellular and everything. So it's a really great tool to understand, you know, at a certain time, what kind of actual performance and throughput I'm getting on any network I'm using.
So we could do things like out in the field, hey, I know based off this data, I need Verizon here and AT&T here.
Yep.
Or I need to improve my Wi-Fi performance in this specific area versus this area.
Exactly, that's really the purpose of it. We're doing sampling of signal strength, of Wi-Fi cellular signal strength, bandwidth, download, upload, so that you understand what networks are performing well and what networks are not. And those networks you own, you can go make improvements on, but the great thing is the networks you don't own, you can't make improvements on them. That's where mobility comes in, to be able to set things like quality of service parameters to improve the performance and the ability for that device, you know. So whether you own that network or not, or have control, you know, we give you visibility to understand that, but then we also give you tools like mobility to improve that performance in the meantime.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, we do things like threat defense. We give you the ability to see, you know, all networks you're using. So this, again, in healthcare can be really important. You want to make sure you're on secured networks, that you're not using insecure networks. We give you very easily and simply a view, you can see here, of all of the insecure Wi-Fi networks that your devices have used. You know, and when I mean insecure, I mean device, you know, open authentication networks where, you know,
Your Starbucks at the
your Starbucks, where data is not encrypted, where you have a lot of, you know, people trying to create evil twin networks where they'll go in and make it, you know, Starbucks with an apostrophe, and somebody connects to that, and all of a sudden now you're, you know, potentially sending patient data in the clear. We prevent that. One, we give you visibility into, you know, what networks you're using all the time. So you can see here, you know, who used what network. You can see exactly where that network was located geographically. We can see what device it was and what network it was. And so again, we give you that full visibility into all of those insecure networks. We also can give you some information, especially on cellular, if you're using cellular data, around cost control and network usage. So, you know, application usage. So you can see here really quickly, you know, what applications are using up data. I can look here, I can see Chrome has been using up a lot. You know, people might say, well, I don't know what's going over Chrome. Well, we actually provide you visibility into that as well. Even browser-based applications, you can click on Chrome. That'll actually filter all of the traffic to what users have been using over Chrome. I can see what users and what devices. But then I can also go in and say, what domains were they going to? So I know specifically, you know, on Chrome, what domains they were going to. I can see somebody used Facebook, I can see somebody went to Apple, I can see somebody went to Microsoft. So we really allow you to break it down very easily into what you know, what users have been using.
Can we blacklist and whitelist specific things from there?
You can put rules in to block access to certain, you know, domains, certain IP addresses, ranges, all of that, yes.
Very good.
You can definitely block the applications as well. So it's very, you know, that you're right. You know, just having the data is one thing, but we also, with mobility, with the entire platform, we give you the ability to recognize a pattern and then to remediate it as well.
Like Jay's kind of discussed, you know, this is really giving you that high overview of all your trends into your network. And then the other tools that we've discussed from NetMotion Mobility, Diagnostics, as well as Mobile IQ are giving you the tools to be able to take action on all the data that we have here. So I appreciate the time and thanks for watching.
Thanks.